Hello, everybody. I hope you all are having a great day. Let me get my screen sharing. Hello. Welcome back to another episode of In the Know. You guys know we are now live. So if you're having problems with hearing, make sure those speakers are unmuted. Let's move on. So you guys know who I am. I'm Leah. I'm your host for today's session. Still in the same place with the same good stuff here. So I want to just let you guys know that we've got a lot of content to cover today. So we're going to move forward. All right, a couple housekeeping items before we move into the highlights and news. Just so you guys know, as always, accessing Q&A should be at the bottom of your Zoom in that control panel down at the bottom. If you're interested in the handout, I know some folks have already asked for it. You can get that through the answered questions or in the handouts. It's www.intuit.me/ITK handout-MAR24. Really quick, we'll talk about the CPE credit eligibility information. If you guys have any questions on that, or if you're new here, we'll let you know how that works. We'll talk about the learning objectives. I've got some highlights I need to share with you guys before we jump in today's topics, and then we'll jump in and close the webinar in 60 minutes. So appreciate you guys being here. Questions and feedback. So we ask that you please use the Q&A section of your Zoom panel, not chat. That should be disabled. We please ask that you only submit questions related to the content featured today. There's a ton of you guys and just a few of us. So we ask that you please relate to just the content that we're speaking to today. So not all questions will be addressed, but we will do our very best to answer all of them during this session. Questions not answered during the webinar will be in the FAQ. If you're having any technical related or technical support issues or questions, we ask that you please contact the support channel at 888-333-3451. Again, if the product is not working as designed and you're having errors, we ask you please contact technical support. We will not be able to assist you here. 888-333-3451. And yes, for those that have been around, this is my actual house. I decided to be real today. I actually cleaned the kitchen for once before the session. For CPE process, in order to receive CPE, you must be present for a minimum of 50 minutes to earn 1 CPE credit. Please answer all polling questions. I know in the past we get the I can't answer or it doesn't pop up. It might fall behind if you like go to another tab or another screen. So click on your Zoom. It should pop up when it's there. We're only going to have it up for about a minute, so be ready. And if all or part of the requirements are met, your CPE will be emailed within 2 weeks following the close of the webinar to the email address you registered. And it's coming from accountant_training@intuit.com. So just make sure that's in your approved list. All right, for CPE learning objectives, we've got some cool stuff to talk about today. Discover which QuickBooks desktop features are available in QuickBooks Online. I know I get this a lot when I'm working with accounting firms on a day-to-day basis. What's in desktop that's in QBO? We'll talk about that. Learn all about the updates to 1099 corrections and auto-matching payroll paychecks in bank transactions. And then we're going to find out more about how to bulk assign and edit payroll items. Again, if you need the handout, www.intuit.me/ITK handout-MAR24. Really quick, I've got some cheat sheets here on the side, so I want to make sure I get these really quick. Notes, so some news and some highlights really quick. We are just letting folks know that the invoicing financing product to get paid up front has evolved into what we now call QuickBooks Line of Credit. Through QuickBooks Line of Credit, you and your customers have access to flexible funding at their fingertips. They can get invoice advances and draw cash to cover business expenses, to pay bills, cover payroll, and fund offerings across QuickBooks, and get invoice advances instead of waiting on net terms. They can apply in minutes by filling out a simple application, writing QuickBooks. No extra documents are required. Customers will be able to apply for $1,000 to $50,000 in credit limit and can decide how and when to use it. There are no origination fees for new customers. There's no prepayment penalties, and they only pay for what they borrow. Interest, of course, will apply. Rates vary and depend on applicants' credit profile and other factors. If you're interested in taking advantage of this today, it should be directly through the product when they go to log in. It'll be available right through QuickBooks. Second, we have just some information about our Mineral HR platform. So learning about Mineral's new and improved HR platform, this is who we partner with. If you're using our QuickBooks Online Payroll product and you would like to learn more about the HR platform. So there's a working session walkthrough of the new and improved Mineral platform. We're hosting, it looks like 2. One on March 18th and one on March 26th. And so what it's going to include is how to consult your Mineral HR experts, how to easily create your smart employee handbook that's never out of date, how to navigate a multitude of HR compliance resources, templates, tools, and so much more. If you're interested, please be sure to sign up. This is slide 11. I believe it should be the same in your PDF, but it should go in the same order as the PDF. The PowerPoint today. So if you're interested, sign up at one of those to learn more. Last, certainly not the least, we talked about this before already. I remember having one of these already, but CAS for Agriculture with Figured. If you're a firm that serves agriculture clients or are looking to take on agriculture clients, check out Figured and QuickBooks Online's new How-To Advisory series. Many of you will know that moving your agricultural clients from compliance to advisory has the potential to unlock a significant revenue growth opportunity for you and your firm, upwards of 300% according to research from Figured. Establishing CAS or scaling your existing services can be difficult, along with the complex and highly specialized nature of agricultural accounting is often a challenge. Their How-To Advisory video series for agriculture CAS is available now. So it looks like if you're interested in checking this out, you can scan the QR code, or you can click on the bottom left where it says click here to unlock the series if you guys are interested in checking more about that. So it's broken down into a few bite-sized videos. Each session is just a couple of minutes long because we know, hey, it's tax season, we get it, you guys are busy. You'll also see how to set your firm's CAS priorities, segment your client's base to identify existing but untouched advisory opportunities, and implement the right tools to help you achieve this. So that's all I had for you guys today, I think. Yes. So now we're going to be focusing on our first presenter, Ninad, who is going to talk about the desktop features that are in QuickBooks Online today. So Ninad, whenever you're ready, please get on camera and introduce yourself and take it away.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Leah. Can you see me?
I think so. Can I see you?
You can hear me?
Yeah. Stop
Yeah.
share.
Perfect.
I can see you. Go ahead.
I'll just start sharing my screen.
There we go.
Perfect. So hello all. Good morning. I'll be covering the first topic for today, which is bringing the QuickBooks Desktop magic to QuickBooks Online. So a little bit about myself. I'm Ninad. I've been working as a product manager with Intuit for almost 2 years now. I'm based out of Bangalore in India, and I'm working with the QuickBooks Desktop team. So presently, what we're doing is we're working on this project or mission wherein we are building some QuickBooks Desktop-like features in QuickBooks Online to boost the productivity of our users on QuickBooks Online, specifically the ones who have, let's say, migrated from QuickBooks Desktop to the online product. So I'll come to that, but before that, I'd like to ask a quick question to the audience. Do you have clients who have moved from QuickBooks Desktop to QuickBooks Online in the past 1 year? And I'm assuming you can see the poll on your screen.
Alrighty, folks, we have our first poll question up for the webinar. We've got about 20 seconds in. If I can do math, that's about 40 seconds to go before we close it out. Please be sure to answer if you're looking for that CPE. I'm hoping to see a majority of folks saying yes to this question, considering that's been a big push that we've been we've been focusing on. So any expectations, Ninad, on these questions that you're asking today?
Not really sure, Leah, but maybe we will get like a 50-50 split. But Leah, I think I'm not sure if they're able to answer. Can somebody confirm? Because it says host and panelists can't vote.
We're about a minute in, so we're going to close that webinar now. I'm sorry, the poll, and share the results. So it looks like we do have a majority of folks that have moved to QuickBooks Desktop customers.
Great. So I think, yeah, that's very interesting. And I hope this topic will help you further. So just quickly jumping to the topic. As I mentioned, right, we are working on bringing the QuickBooks Desktop Magic, as we call it, to QuickBooks Online. So what we heard was users who migrate from QuickBooks Desktop to the online product. They don't really think the QuickBooks Online product is similar to the desktop product. And we've heard complaints about, let's say, the navigation in the product, or having to go through too many clicks to do basic or perform easy tasks. So what we did was we identified the gaps between the two products, and we built some productivity enhancements. And these are features that have been existing in QuickBooks Desktop. Now we have gone ahead and built them in QuickBooks Online too, so that our online customers can also realize the goodness of the desktop product. So some of these features have been live since April of last year. We have been rolling them out periodically, and mostly these features are accessible on QuickBooks Online Plus and Advanced SKUs, with some of them also being available on Simple Start and Essentials. So what I'll do next is I'll walk you through the story of a customer. I'll map out the journey, and this customer is someone who has moved or migrated from QuickBooks Desktop to QuickBooks Online recently, to show you the new features that we have launched. So we have George here, who owns a very good landscaping company, which is an LLC in Atlanta. And George was actually using QuickBooks Desktop for quite a few years. He's been in business for 12 years. And the last desktop product that he was using was Premiere Plus 2022. He's the sole user of QuickBooks, and his needs for using QuickBooks are very basic. He invoices customers, he manages expenses, etc. And he had been using QuickBooks Desktop because of the affordable pricing, but now he has decided to migrate to the online product. And when George actually migrated to the online product, he noticed that the online product was different to what he was used to. And here's some of the feedback that we received from George, which highlighted the difference between the two products. So George told us that it's difficult to navigate in QuickBooks Online, and it was easier to navigate between invoices and estimates in the desktop product. He could also set credit limits for customers and get notified when those are exceeded. He could save batch customer lists, so adding customers together in one go. He could also add notes on the invoice in QuickBooks Desktop, so that and those notes could be accessible only, so he could see it. His customers couldn't see it. So if there was something specific, he could add that in QuickBooks Desktop. And he could also visit or go to reports, some related reports from the invoice directly, without actually closing the invoice, going to the report center and accessing the report. So these are some of the things that we heard, which highlighted the differences between the two products. So what we did next was we went ahead and built some awesome features for him in QuickBooks Online. So let's see how he uses them. So I'll just walk you through a journey for George, and how George will actually use the QuickBooks Online product now that we have rolled out these features. So George wants to start his day by adding multiple customers. So George goes to the customers page. He clicks on the drop down and sees the multiple customers button, which he clicks on. Then George goes ahead and adds details for all the customers at once, and then hits the save button. So QuickBooks Online saves all the customers for George. Then the next task for George of the day is he wants to create an invoice for one of the customers that he saved. So he opens the invoice screen. He chooses the customer, who's Michael Scott, adds the product and services, and the address is also auto-populated because it was saved for Michael Scott in the customer details. So the next step is he actually wants to edit the shipping address because the address that is saved for the customer and the address that he wants on the invoice is supposed to be different. So what he does is he clicks on the ship to field, and now you can see it's editable. So he goes ahead and edits the ship to field. Uh, the next thing that he wants to do is he realizes that Michael is actually one of his favorite customers. So he wants to add a note specifically for this customer, which only he can see and Michael cannot see. So you can see the internal customer notes field here. So what George does is he adds the note there saying that he should apply discounts for their invoices because Michael is a regular customer. Then, while saving the invoice, he actually gets a warning. And the warning says that the current balance for Michael Scott is exceeding the $4,000, which was the credit limit set by George himself in the customer details. So here, George can take the action. He can either continue, he can go back. But the idea is that we want to notify him here so that he can take the necessary action and get paid faster. So George continues, and then what he wants to do is he wants to check the previous invoice. So you can see the invoice number here, 12345, and there is a left and right arrow with it. So he clicks on the left arrow and goes to the previous invoice to check the previous one. And then what George wants to do is for Michael Scott, he wants to see the open invoices because the outstanding balance was more than the credit limit. So George can open the right accordion on the invoice page. You can see the customer reports here. So what George does is he clicks on the open invoices. QuickBooks prompts if he definitely wants to go to the report or make some changes to the invoice. George clicks on view report and it takes QuickBooks takes George to the open invoices report for Michael. So George is now happy because he sees that these are features that were there in the desktop product that he loved, and this is helping him improve his productivity and save time that he can use elsewhere. So just to sum it up, right, what we have built are all these features that you can see here. So the first one was navigation between invoices and estimates, which was the left and right that you could see with the invoice number. This is true also for estimates. I did show the one for invoices. The second is editing the billing and shipping address on the invoice, which is now a possibility for customers like George. The third is setting credit limits for the business owner's customers and firing a warning when that is exceeded to help customers to get paid faster. And then the other one is opening related reports from the invoicing directly so that you don't have to close the invoice, go to the report center, and then open the reports. And we also saw the add multiple customers in batch. We've also released the add multiple vendors. So you can actually add both customers and vendors at once in batch. And the last one, which is launched very recently, is adding notes on the invoice, which are not visible to the customer. So only the one who creates the invoice can see it. It's not customer facing. And as you can see, right, these are some of the success metrics that we've been tracking, and we've got some good feedback from the numbers here. But this brings me to my next question, which I wanted to ask you folks is, how likely are you to recommend these features to your peers on a scale of 0 to 10? Wherein or 1 to 11, I think that's what you can see, where 11 is extremely likely and 1 is not likely.
Alrighty, folks. So you guys know the drill. We got poll question number 2 up, about 40 seconds left before we close and share the poll. If you guys are interested in responding to the poll and then providing us feedback, please do the feedback in the Q&A. So is there a particular reason why you guys did 1 through 11? Was there like a special number you were looking for? No?
So no, nothing of that sort actually.
Awesome. Well, we're at the 1 minute mark. We'll go ahead and share those results. It does look like we're a little bit across the board here, anticipated for sure. Again, if you guys have any more feedback for us on how we can make it better, please let us know. Awesome. I believe that brings us to Q&A. Nanad, was there anything else that you wanted to add before we get to the Q&A piece?
No, I think that's it.
Okay, awesome. We do have a few questions for you that I want to just make sure we address. When will these features be available in Canada? We get this question a lot. We got a lot of folks from Canada that join as well.
Yeah, so actually that's a great question, and what I can say is we've been getting feature requests from the other geographies too. So we decided to start it off with US, but I think that's there in the pipeline. So we might do it for Canada and the other geos too in the future.
In the future? Oh, I'm glad you guys are considering it. That's awesome. Can you import customer info from Excel? I'm pretty sure the answer is yes. There was a screenshot that you showed where it said import customers and then batch, right?
Yes, you can, but that's so the feature that I showed is slightly different where you can do it in product, but I know there's a way to do it by importing from Excel too.
Okay. Yeah. So, and also I know too, when you click the import customer option, I believe there's a template too, that you can download as an example. So it makes it a little bit easier / helpful. Is the batch enter available for checks, deposits, etc., like in desktop? I can answer this question, Nanad, if you can't.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead, Leah.
So yes, batch enter is available. It is the batch transactions feature only available in QuickBooks Online Advanced. So we do have batch transactions, batch features available, but those are going to only be in the advanced product. Okay, so this one is in regards to the note feature that you shared. When you say the note is only available to the person who entered it, does that really mean only that person or the company?
Yeah, so what it means is the note won't be visible to the customer for whom the invoice is being saved, but otherwise the note will also be let's say visible to someone who has the access to view the invoice. So whoever can view the invoice in the company will be able to see the note too.
Oh, good. So anybody who has access to the invoice can see the note.
Yeah. To view the invoice. Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah, so that's key, right? If you can view it, see it. Perfect. And just some clarification when we first talked about when are these features available, and can you please confirm the versions that they're available in?
Yeah, so these features we've been periodically rolling it out since April of last year. And the versions, as I mentioned, they are on QuickBooks Online Plus and Advanced mainly, but some of them are also available on the Simple Start and the Essential SKUs.
Perfect. And just a silly side note, we diagnosed that the poll question 1 to 11 was a minor blip. So thank you for the folks in the chat who are making fun and having a good time about it. It was an honest mistake. It was supposed to be 1 to 10. I believe those are all of the main questions that we had for you today. Thank you so much for being here. We really appreciate it. If you have an opportunity to check the chat and see if there's anything that we missed that you could answer on the back end, Nanad, that would be amazing. But we really appreciate you coming in today and sharing all these cool updates with us.
Thank you so much, Leah. Thank you.
Take care. All right, we've got our next presenter, Tiffany, and we're going to cover, what did we say we were going to cover again?
1099 corrections.
I mean, I knew that. I was just testing you.
All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Tiffany. I'm a product manager. I've been at Intuit for 7 years already, if you can believe it. And I'm here to talk about corrections, 1099 corrections today. I believe that we have a poll to get us started. What 1099 correction needs 2 forms to be e-filed with the IRS? This one is a complicated one. So let's see.
So are you telling me there is a right answer technically?
There is technically a right answer to this one, but this is just really to show that the requirements that the IRS has on 1099 corrections are very complicated.
Okay. I don't even know if I know the answer to this. Based on the percentages, I don't know if I could make a wild guess either. All right, folks, we have about 20 seconds left before we close this poll out. I am actually really curious to know. And guess what? If you did not guess the correct answer, you'll still get the CPE credit. So don't stress about that. But
Oh, yeah.
I feel like it is a trick question for sure. Good one, Tiffany. You've got me all confuzzled. All right, we're at that minute mark. Okay, so it looks like we have a top contender. The total amount reported on a form is wrong. Is that the correct answer?
That is not the correct answer,
Get out of town.
unfortunately. Okay, so this is not a way to test anything. It's just to show that the IRS has requirements regarding 1099 corrections that are very, complicated to deal with. And this is why we're so excited to bring 1099 corrections through QuickBooks to all of you. You've been asking it for years, I believe, and we kind of detect exactly what was corrected and the correct number of forms that need to be filed. So very quickly, there are 4 main types of corrections that can happen. The first one is the total amount reported on a form was wrong. There is just the same form that gets refiled, one form with the corrected checkbox at the top that would be filed. It is if the recipient's personal information that was wrong, that 2 forms would get e-filed through QBO. The original form would get voided with a corrected checkbox, and then a new form would be filed. And then case number 3, if someone has a form that was filed for someone who does not need one, so you just want to void it, you refile the original form with the voided checkbox. And the final one, which is fun, is that if the company information was wrong, a written letter needs to be sent to the IRS. So this is not something that you can do through QuickBooks because the IRS wants a written letter. Thankfully, this is not the most common use case. All right, so I've done quite a lot of introduction on this one, but 1099 corrections have been launched mid-February for anybody who has e-filed their form originally through QuickBooks. The main reason we did that is because the IRS this year has made a change in their regulation, which is that the correction of a form needs to be filed exactly the same way as that the original form was filed. What does that mean? That means that if you've e-filed the original form, you must e-file the corrected form. If you've printed the original form, you must print the corrected form. So we launch corrections, which detects really the right form to e-file, depending on the changes that you've made and that are free. And those can be accessed through taxes and 1099 filings. And I'm going to go through a demo in order to show you. All right, so this is a test account. So some of those things are a bit off. Like you can see this is a test banner at the top. And obviously this is, fake data, Justice League. All right, so you go to taxes and then 1099 filings in order to access your 1099 forms. And as you can see, corrections have been available since mid-February, but you can only correct forms that have been accepted by the IRS. So if the status here is accepted, then in the actions column, you can start a correction. If it's, pending, if it has been rejected, you can't correct them. You would have to wait for them to be accepted or actually void and refile. We have a different process for that. So let's move on to correction. All right, so here we get started. The first thing that you will see is that piece of information, which is the business information. So the company, the filer information needs to be the same as when you originally e-filed. Why is that? Because if the IRS cannot recognize the company information, so again, the person who is filing, the company who is filing, not the recipient, but the company information, they will reject that correction. So you need to make sure that you're taking the same business information as the original one, which is why we have this big warning. All right, so on this one, you can change your mapping right here saying, okay, maybe there was a problem between the chart of accounts that I've selected or the box that it was mapped to. In this use case, I'm going to keep it as is. And here you will see that for whatever reason, it's not pulling. This is what happens with test accounts. There you go. Okay, so here you will see that we have just this form, the Wonder Woman one, where we've pulled the previous total and now a corrected total. So the way I've done that is I went into QBO and I've adjusted my expenses in QBO because, something was missing. And now QBO is pulling the new total and showing you the previous one that was filed in order to show you that the difference, what the difference is. If this number looks off, go back to QuickBooks, fix the expenses, come back here, and you will see that the new number pops in. All right, so here I have my previous total, my new total. I can move on to the next step. And I will see my new form. So I'm going to go ahead and preview it. There you go. Let me zoom in. Can I zoom in a little bit? Yes. Great. So you can see that this is my new total, 1884, and I have this corrected checkbox at the top. So it all looks good, and I can click here to e-file. So I'm not going to do that right now because I want to show you just a different scenario. Let's imagine that for this Wonder Woman filing, turns out Wonder Woman did not need a 1099. She incorporated as an S-Corp middle of the year without telling you, and therefore she no longer needs a 1099. As a result, this form that we had originally for her needs to be voided. So let's look at how to do that. You would go back to click correct, and in this scenario, I need to void it. She does no longer needs a form. We will follow this instruction. If you filed for a contractor by mistake, remove the accounts and head to the next step. So we're going to do just that. We're going to remove the account right here, and we're going to move to the next step, right? It tells me that it might affect other 1099s. Here we go. We can see that Wonder Woman, it used to be 1584, but now the corrected total is 0, which is normal. It's a form that is about to be voided. So we're going to look at it again. You can see that nothing appears here, which is normal. And we will have zeros everywhere in the corrected checkbox. This is exactly what the IRS wants. They want basically the same form with the corrected checkbox and a bunch of zeros everywhere. So, sorry about that. Now I can go ahead and e-file for this one. One last piece of information that I really want to stress out, it is that for corrections, you will need to make sure that you are the ones printing copies to your contractors if needed. QuickBooks will not take care of printing and mailing corrected forms to the contractors. However, the contractors will be able to download them if they create a free account into QBSE. All right, and that's it for corrections. All right, so that was the demo. I'm going to move on to, and then we'll do Q&A for both topics at once afterwards. So stay tuned, keep your questions. I'm going to move on to a very exciting and quite quick update, which is that we now have auto matching of payroll paychecks in bank transactions. All right, so this is today, the way payroll paychecks work, if they're getting paid by direct deposit, is that one direct debit appears for each of the paychecks on the bank feeds. That means that you have to manually match all of those debits to the payroll paychecks. Great news. We just launched to almost everyone yesterday automatic matching of each paycheck to the right debits. They will immediately appear in the Categorize tab, and you no longer have to click through each of the paychecks and manually map them to the right bank line in your bank feed into the QBO transaction tab. What that looks like, it's going to go really from before, like this is just a quick before after. Before in the transactions tab here, you would have to review some of the transactions or confirm all of those matches. And sometimes if you have several matches, you have to click a few times, which gets, tedious and is quite time consuming. versus now they would automatically appear in the categorized section, okay, with an automatic match. And you will see that you can double check and you can undo. And if you click on the gear icon here, you can turn off automatic matching if needed. This will save a lot of time, I believe, in terms of reconciliation. Very excited about this. All right, cool. Q&A.
Oh man, I was so excited, like looking at both of those updates. This is great. Thank you so much, Tiffany, for sharing all of this information. We do have a couple questions I want to ask live really quick. We're going to start with 1099 stuff first, and then we'll jump into payroll questions.
Yes.
I'm assuming there is no real date, but the question is, how late date do we have to e-file a correction?
Okay, so there's like two answers to this. The IRS doesn't really have a set date. Like if you find out that something is wrong, correct it as soon as you find out about it, but they're gonna leave you time. You know, you can find out that there was a mistake, I don't know, 6 months after filing. That's totally possible. So they don't have like a hard cutoff date. QBO, the filing system. Why is this doing this? I'm gonna stop sharing maybe. QuickBooks will be open for filing until mid-May. So you have until mid-May to file your original forms with QuickBooks. We are looking into expanding that date in case you find corrections later on. But so far, we're looking at mid-May.
So IRS technically doesn't have a deadline for corrections, but we're thinking about closing it off to do directly in QBO in May-ish, possibly.
Yes. We're looking into extending that, but that's the current date that we have.
That's fair. And that makes sense, right? I got an audit from like 2018 and 2022, and I filed a correction 4 years later. So that makes total sense. Okay, so the other question was, are we able to add additional 1099 recipients after the deadline as a correction? So let's say I forgot Tiffany as a 1099 and I need to add it to QBO. Can I do that as a correction in QBO?
So you can, if a new person needs a 1099 that you haven't filed for, you can just file a regular 1099. So you can go to the Prepare 1099 button into QBO, which is in the contractor list or in the vendor list, and you can go ahead and start for that person. Corrections are only available for a form that has already been accepted, but since you haven't filed for that person, you would need to create a new one, basically, but totally open.
And I would imagine with creating new ones, there's deadlines in that too, to do through QBO.
We're looking at mid-May as well for creating new ones, yes.
Ah, okay, that's new to me. Let's see. I was gonna ask this question, but it almost is tough. I don't know if you're gonna know this, Tiffany. What is the cost for 1099s filing through QuickBooks? I think it depends. I think it varies.
Yeah, I can answer that. So 1099 e-filing is free if you have some of the QuickBooks subscriptions, such as payroll, contractor payments, bill pay premium, or bill pay elites. For the rest of the QuickBooks clients or different or subscriptions, such as just QuickBooks or QuickBooks with bill pay basic, the pricing starts at $4.99 per form, and then it decreases the more form you file.
Okay, cool. And then a flip side to that question is, do you charge for corrections?
Corrections are free.
Corrections are free. Folks, you heard it here first. Corrections are free. Is there a deadline? We already talked about deadlines for voiding or correcting 1099s. Is a correction needed for an updated address for the recipient?
No. So you actually do not need to file a correction for an updated address for the recipient. But if it makes you feel comfortable, you can totally do that with the IRS. They will accept it. But you don't need that. The IRS doesn't require it.
Need that. And I also saw that someone had asked a question on, did I do this correctly? And then you answered the question. So they're like, oh, you just covered my answer. Thank you. So that was cool. I'll ask one more question really quick before we move on to our last presenter, and that'll be for the paycheck auto matching. Will Paycheck Match also work with QBOA payroll exported paychecks?
So auto matching is something that works for paychecks that have been paid with direct deposit. So I am not sure that exported paychecks from QBOA would fall into that category. I will have to look into that, or maybe I'm not misunderstanding.
I'm wondering if they're referring to like they have a QuickBooks Online payroll, but it's exporting into a QBO, like they're not tied together necessarily. I think that might
Oh,
be.
I see. No, it would not work for, sorry, it took me a second just to think about how the auto matching system works. But no, it would not work for exporting. It would be if you have QuickBooks and payroll in the same, in the same product, in the same shell.
Makes sense. Tiffany, thank you so much. I know some folks are asking about the screenshot. It is in your handout, so you can zoom in on that if you had questions around that screenshot that she shared. So check that out. But Tiffany, thank you so much for your time. And if you have an opportunity to hang out and answer questions we missed, that would be amazing. Thank you. All right, we're going to move on to our last presenter, Alok. It is your turn to talk to us about bulk assign and edit payroll items.
Yes, thank you. Hello, everyone. I'm just gonna share screen and we can get started. Thumbs up if you can see my screen. Cool. And can you hear me? Perfect. Okay. I'm here to talk about some bulk utilities that we've released to our payroll product. Let me first introduce myself. My name is Alok Bapit. I'm a product manager on the Workforce Solutions team, and I work specifically on the payroll policies side of the product. Been into it for 7 years. Wow, longer than I expected, but it's been great so far, and I'm based out of Toronto, Canada. Cool. So let's start with a poll. How long does it approximately take you to assign a pay type to 30 employees? So it could be any pay type that you need to create and assign to your employees.
Ooh, that's a really good question. Folks, don't forget to answer the poll if you're interested in CPE. I'd be curious to know, for those that actually do run payroll and enter payroll stuff, obviously I don't want to give it away, but I'm kind of shocked at what we're seeing currently. Do you have any expectations of what you're hoping people are answering?
I have a feeling what most of the audience might say, but again, usage varies person to person. Some folks can do it a lot faster. But yeah, let's find out.
Yeah, I mean, I supported payroll back in the day before moving into this role, and I would be like probably like 35 minutes, which is the winner under not applicable.
Yeah, so not applicable, totally fine. Seems like some accountants are not using QuickBooks Payroll, but 35 minutes is around what we are seeing based on our research. So that's a lot of time, right? And that's just to assign one pay type for 30 employees. But imagining onboarding new clients, and you have to do this for all their employees as you onboard them. So this is very helpful. Let's get into what we heard from our customers and what we are doing about it. So what we're hearing is, currently it takes a lot of time to create, assign, and edit employee information in the individual employee profiles. Everything that touches an employee is stored in the employee profile. If you want to edit information or assign them to new attributes or new policies, it could be anything related to their pay types, deductions, contributions, time off, pay schedules, workers' compensation. It all happens in the employee profile, one employee at a time. And our larger customers are seeking more efficient processes to manage this information. And then based on surveys and some research that we've done, the ability to manage employee data with bulk or batch actions is consistently the top most requested feature by our accountants and bookkeepers. So we've heard this information, and what we've done, and a lot of you should already see these utilities in the payroll product. But we've introduced a bulk assign and bulk edit utilities to the edit payroll items tool that can be accessed from the overview and employees tab within the payroll tab. And the goal of these utilities is to help you manage pay type deduction and contribution assignments a lot faster. What we're seeing is these utilities are giving you a lot of time back, right? So around 92% fewer clicks and about 35 minutes saved to assign or edit a pay type for 30 employees. Currently, these features are available to all QuickBooks Online payroll customers in the US and Canada. And it also works in the Tango app. So it works well there. It's available now, so it should be available to everybody. And like I said, it's accessible from the overview and employees tab within QuickBooks Payroll. All right, let's look at the experience in real time. Can you still see my screen? All right, awesome. So, like I said, you can access the tool from the shortcuts card here, or you can go to the employees tab and open up the edit payroll items tool. Before I go that, let me just quickly show you what it looks like to assign a new pay type to an employee. So from the employee list page, you come to the employee profile, you open up the pay types card. Let's say you have some of these pay types already created. I'm going to select this hourly pay type, $30 an hour. And again, this is a test company, so a lot of pay type names don't make sense, but let's ignore those. $30 an hour, saved for Gloria, back on the employee list page, and now I have to continue on to the next employee. Cool. So what we've done is introduce this tool. You can go to a pay type, open it up. Currently, just Gloria is assigned to it, but I want to assign more employees. I see a list of all employees in my company. I'm going to filter by the status, and I can filter by work locations as well, but let's just leave that one off for now. See all employees here, bulk select, move on to the next screen where I'm asked for one rate for all employees, and just say $30. I hit save, and within 10 seconds, you should assign this test 1232 hourly pay type to the 20 employees that you've selected. I'm hoping that it doesn't take too long, but I tested this earlier. It was working fine. Okay, there we go. Some movement. And that's it, right? You've assigned this pay type to 20 employees. Well, you can do more from this tool. You can create a new payroll item. Let's just say we want to create a new deduction item. Deductions are pretty handy to create in the beginning of the year. Open enrollment period is a very common use case. You can also create pay types from this tool. Basically all the pay types that you can create from the employee profile. Once you create a pay type, you can bulk assign employees to it right away. Let's say it's the end of the year. Your employees have done a fantastic job throughout the year, and you're giving them an annual raise. So let's go back to that hourly pay type. To do that today, you have to go into each employee's profile and increase the rate by a dollar value only. But we're going to bulk select employees, select pay rate, adjust pay rate, select an adjustment type, so a 3% increase, review the changes on this screen, hit save, and within seconds, you have bulk edited the pay rate for 20 employees in under 12 to 13 seconds. I think it just might be my system. But this is something that we're actively working on, is optimizing the experience for not just this hourly pay type, which is a simpler use case, but for deductions and contributions as well, and making it very performant in the beginning of the year, end of the year, when a lot of customers need to make changes to employee information. Currently, we support bulk utilities for pay types, deductions, and contributions, but we plan to add more pay items and non-policies related items here, so you can take advantage of those utilities across all employee information. We're also seeing a ton of feedback from customers that have been managing their clients' files for a long time, and some clients they have are pretty huge. As you can see here, I have 33 pay types. I'm not using 33 pay types. So what they've asked for is the ability to mark some of these pay types inactive. That's something that we're working on right now as I speak. And we're currently aiming to have that ready for you sometime in June. So it is a pretty exciting feature to build, but we're going to build in iterations and allow you to mark pay types that have no employees assigned to it to start. And again, if you inactivate a pay type, it's not the same thing as hard deleting a pay type, but there are some few rules that we need to bear in mind when we allow you to make changes to the status of a pay type. Or again, the inactivate feature will work for both pay types, deductions, and contributions. And inactivated pay items will also be flagged in the employee profile. So you're not just decluttering your view here, but you're also decluttering the view in the employee profile. I'm going to stop there. Let me go back here. Slideshow mode, and we're in Q&A. Thank you so much.
That's super cool. I love the updates to that, and we've had some folks already like asking like, hey, can you batch delete? So thank you for being preemptive and letting us know. And for those that are on the call listening in, just remember, we give a specific timeline, doesn't mean it always happens, but we are actively working on it in the back end, which is amazing. So hopefully it comes sooner rather than later, but things change. So just keep that in mind. A couple questions. So you live in Canada, so the age-old question, is this available in Canada? Comes
Yes.
up every time.
Absolutely. Yeah. Everything we're building for this tool, every enhancement will be available to both Canada and US at the same time.
Awesome. That's great to hear. And can you clarify the versions that this is available in? If it's all, can everybody currently see it, or is it just some?
Yeah, so this is currently available for all QuickBooks Online Payroll subscribers, so Core, Elite, Premium, all of them. In US and Canada, it's also available in Standard Payroll in Canada. Yeah, I'm in the accountant version as well.
Perfect. Thank you. That's so helpful. The question that I was actually curious about too was, what if I had 20 employees that had the same pay type but different pay rates? Can I adjust them individually through there as well easily?
Yes, you can go back to that assignment table and individually make adjustments to their information. So same as making adjustments to the rate, the deductions, again, company contributions are usually standard for all employees, but you can individually adjust the employee deductions if that's what you want to do from one page, right? That's another value of this tool, is it's not just bulk, but you can make individual edits from one place instead of going in and out of the employee profile. So yes.
That's great. And I would imagine building a feature tool like this could eventually become bigger and greater things across the payroll, board here. Like, we're just scratching the surface on batch edit. So I think that's amazing. The last
Absolutely.
question I had, just because I see it on the FAQ and I just want to make sure, can I turn it off? Is there an opportunity for me to say, you know what, I don't want to use this. Can I turn it off?
Turn off the entire feature?
Yep.
No, it's not a feature that you can turn off.
I'm so sorry.
Maybe.
I'm looking at something completely different. Please disregard my question.
All good. I'm seeing a few.
I was like, what are you talking about, lady? Oh man. It's almost Friday.
All good.
I'm so sorry. Well, you've answered all my questions, even ones that I try to trick you into. Thank you so much for all the presenters. Alok, Tiffany, Ninad, you guys have been amazing. Thank you for all joining. But that's going to do it all for today. We're going to wrap up. Just a few things that I always like to clarify at the end. If you guys are interested in trainings and webinars, qbtrainingevents.com, a great resource for you to join. VCons, pre-recorded videos, as well as live sessions. Firm of the Future blog, firmofthefuture.com, a lot of great content and articles that come out there as well. We get monthly What's News. Of course, you guys can also join the In the Know. And then if you guys are interested, what do we do with your feedback? If you're interested in learning more about that, your Feedback into Action article is a great read. Again, thank you guys so much for being here today. And I will see you guys in 2 months. We will not be here for April, but we'll be back ready to go in May. So thank you all, and I hope you guys have a great rest of your month, and happy Easter.